Okay, hello everyone, and today I want to continue again to practice speaking and reading in English. And the topic for today is what are you working toward? Ryan, hey Husni, hey Ryan, you look busy. I am. What are you working on? I'm working on a few things. A few things? Yeah, programming mostly. Still learning Laravel? Yes. You really don't give up, do you? I try not to. Why? Because I really want to become a developer. That's still your goal? Absolutely. Even after all the difficulties, especially after all the difficulties. What makes you want to become a developer? I like building things. What kind of thing? Web application? Why web application? Because I like the idea that something I create can actually be used by other people. That's interesting. Even a simple application can solve a problem. For example, an employee management system can make it easier for a company to manage employee data. Makes sense. Or an online store can make it easy for people to buy things. So you like practical projects? Yes. Not just coding for the sake of coding? Exactly. Do you remember when you first became interested in programming? Yes. What happened? I started becoming curious about how a website worked. What did you do? I started learning HTML and CSS, and then JavaScript, then PHP, yes, and eventually Laravel easily. It's quite a journey. It feels long sometimes, but you're still going. That's why it matters. What's the hardest part about learning programming? Knowing what to learn. Really? Yes. Why? Because there are so many technologies. Like what? React Vue, Next.js, Node.js, Laravel, Django, Docker, Kubernetes, etc. There's a lot, and that's only a small part of the ecosystem. So, how do you decide? I try to focus on one direction. Which direction? Backend development. Using PHP and Laravel? Yes. Why Laravel? Because I enjoy working with it, and I think it gives me a good environment to learn backend concepts. Do you ever feel like you're behind? Yes. How often? Sometimes. What causes what feeling? What causes the feeling? Seeing other people who seem much better than me. Where do you see them? Where do you see them? Mostly online. LinkedIn, GitHub, YouTube, and other platforms. Where do you see people getting jobs and people building impressive application and people talking about technologies I've never heard of? How does that makes you feel? Sometimes it makes me question myself. Do you think they're actually better than you? Some of them probably are. That's honest. But that doesn't mean I can improve. Exactly. Someone being ahead of me doesn't mean I'm falling. That's a good way to think about it. Everyone has a different starting point and a different timeline. Exactly. What do you do when you feel discouraged? I usually take a short break and then I look at what I've already accomplished. Does it help? Sometimes. What else? I look at all code. Why? Sometimes I realize that code used to be difficult for me, but now I understand it better. That's part of progress. Exactly. That's something you can do now that you couldn't do before. I can build a crude application. That's a good start. I understand migration better. Good. I understand eloquent relationship. Nice. I can work with authentication. Good. I can build APIs. That's useful. And I'm getting better at the baking. Which one do you enjoy most? Probably the baking. Really? Yes. Why? Because solving a different bug feels really satisfying. That's the most frustrating bug you've encountered. Sometimes it's a very small mistake. Like what? A typo. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. You spend an hour debugging, and then you discover the problem is one character. Exactly. That's painful. Yeah, it's very painful. But what do you learn? To read my code carefully and not assume that a complicated problem must have a complicated cause. That's a useful lesson. What about your English? I'm working on that too. Why is English important to you? Because a lot of programming resources are in English. Documentation? Yes. Tutorials? Yes. Technical discussion? Yes. And interviews? Definitely. Do you enjoy practicing speaking? Sometimes. Sometimes? Yeah, sometimes it's difficult. Why? Because I know what I want to say in Indonesia, but I don't. But I can immediately express it in English. What do you do? I try anyway, even if you make mistakes, especially if I make mistakes. Why? Because mistakes show me what I need to improve. It's a good mindset. I'm trying. Do you practice every day? I try to. How? I read conversation aloud like this exactly. Do you record yourself? Yes. Why? So I can listen to my pronunciation and speaking. Does it feel strange? At first, yes. And now I'm getting used to it. That's good. Where do you want to be one of from now? Hopefully working as a developer. What kind of developer? A backend developer. What do you want to be able to do? Build a reliable web application? Anything else? Working with a team. Why is it important? Because I want to learn how professional software development actually works. What do you mean? Code reviews, good workflows, good working with tickets, good following requirements exactly, and communicating with other developers. That's very different from learning alone. I know. What scares you about getting your first job developer? Not being good enough. That your biggest fear? Yes. But if you make mistake, I'm sure I will. What if you don't understand the code? I'll ask questions. What if you don't know the technology? I'll learn. What if you need more time? I'll communicate with the team. So, what the real problem? Maybe I'm expecting myself to be perfect before I even start. Exactly. That's probably true. You don't need to be perfect. I know. You need to be checkable. What do you mean checkable? Someone who is willing and able to learn. Okay, I like that. You also need to be responsible. Yes, and willing to ask for help. That's something I'm still learning. Most people are. If you could give advice to your past self, what will you say? Don't worry so much about what? About being behind. Anything else? Don't jump between too many technologies. Good one. Focus on the fundamentals and build projects and make mistakes and keep going. That's a good list. What about you? Me? Yeah. What will you tell your past self? I'm curious. And I say don't be afraid to start. Why? Because sometimes we spend too much time preparing instead of doing. Exactly. That's true. You can learn a lot by actually doing something, even if you do it badly at first, especially then. I think that's what I'm trying to do now. What? Stop waiting until I feel completely ready and start anyway. That's the point. That's the sprint. I still have a lot to learn. Everyone does. I still make mistakes. Everyone does. I still get nervous. Yeah, everyone does. But I'm still moving forward. That's what matters. So, what's your next step? Keep learning Laravel and build another project and keep applying for job and keep practicing English. Anything else? Try not to compare myself too much. Good. And take care of myself. That's probably the most important one. I agree. Ready to keep going always, even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. Why? Because difficult doesn't mean impossible. Exactly. It just means I haven't figured it out yet. I like that. Me too. One day at a time. Yeah, one day at a time. One project at a time. Of course, one project at a time. One step at a time. Yeah, one step at a time. And okay, let's go. Yeah, let's go. And thank you for your watching. See you in the next time.